we're going to start restoring, and this is the way we do it. Okay, so we have a bolster across the mat, horizontal, and the blankets behind. You want a gap between the bolster and the blankets for your arms, and so the chest can open. So sit in front of the bolster. Be sure that you are as close as you can get to it. And it is a little bit confronting because you know you're going to have to do like I think of it's pretty reasonable back bend to get here. So give yourself all the comforts you need to access the spine in that way. So we'll take a couple blocks under the thighs, but we have the soles of the feet together. Okay, that's important. Feet together, knees out. Blocks under thighs. Okay, gather a belt around you. So you're gonna buckle up, and when you add the belt around the back of the pelvis, I want you to bring the belt to the inside line of the legs and then scoop up your feet. And the belt is around the arch, right? So it just holds the feet and cradles them. And this is kind of a nice cradle path for the pelvis. So we're kind of cradling the pelvis, which is a nice thing to do to convey an ability to work on the back musculature and the chest opening. So I'm going to push into my bolster, and then as I lower back, what I find a little bit intriguing here is that if I move my feet closer towards the groins a little bit, and then I might tighten up, you do want the belt pretty snug. And it is around the back of the pelvis, and mine is kind of high-ish. I'm just going to go with what feels comfy. Please don't sit on the belt, right? That's not going to be helpful for your back. And then when you motion back, if you feel like I need more support now, you can take that blanket at the top and fold it once more, which I think I do need right now. So I can orient into my back extension, right? Because we're not going into flexion, right? We're going into that core reach and that openness. Okay, so if you have a sandbag, I highly recommend you try it, and then if you feel like I don't want that for right now, I might add it in a few moments. That's great. But if you have that sand, maybe it's from heart to belly, you're pretty safely positioned that the sand's not going to fall off you because you're not on like a ramp. You're on like this bridge, right, of support. So you could have the sand across, but it is a basic reclining hip opener. So if this feels like it's pushing too much into the reserves you have for breathing, then maybe you have the sand lengthwise, okay? Yeah, I'm going to use this to kind of help me gain a little bit of, I'd say, weight training, right, for my breathing muscles. So I'll just see what it feels like contoured across. Let the arms open. If you need any more support to add in, go for it, right? Maybe you need another blanket under your head. Maybe it's not sufficient. The area of concern is the neck feeling supported. Okay, we're used to doing this with a lot more support on the spinal column all the way up to the neck. So as we center, the chest is open. And find that neutral breath, right? Not necessarily too exciting to get the breath pushing. I want you to feel where the back muscle center, the curve in the lower, and you might even feel that success of the curve in the lower help you facilitate that openness of the chest. You could even have an eye pillow on for this beginning pose. So feel how you gather your breath attention inwards. Let's take a few more rounds of breath. If you push into your feet and draw them a little further away from you, that might be intriguing, but you can just find a way to settle would be the best choice. Just settle in and search in the body where you can use support to let go of tension. need to be supported to be able to let go of tension. And now let's stay with the arch of the back. Let's eliminate the leg feature that's like this. So if you can reach down to your buckle, or maybe you have to kind of slide the belt along, you're gonna slide the belt off of your feet. And then we're gonna move the blocks a little bit to the side. And as I feel the arch in the spine, it is pretty detailed. I can kind of feel almost like that was enough time on the sacrum to have that arch. So my feet are going to shift. I'm going to bring my right ankle up and over to my left knee. And I'm going to stay with the sand because I find this to be kind of interesting, just with the breath phase. You might feel like the sand is just too much pressure. So you can stay with the sand or you can remove it, right? And then keeping the figure 4 pose, feel the right knee as it's releasing outwards. It doesn't follow the floor, I hope, if it's attached. You can feel the attachments in the joints. And then you can feel how we release fascia, right? Connective tissue layers is from feeling. So arms are open, knee releases a little bit out, but what I'm working with right now is a little bit of rocking side to side. Nothing, no pushing into my left foot and bouncing on the pelvis at all, but just a little bit of swing side to side. Remember, motion is lotion. So motion through the hips. The left foot's close towards you. It's not sliding down, it's close to connect to the hip flexor. Okay, and then that right knee, try to let it shift away from your center. So the right knee points away. Take another breath. Okay, and then scan in your mind, right, how that right hip is feeling, how far you've gone with it. And we want to try to replicate it on side 2. It's a different hip though. It's probably has different issues. But as I move my right foot down, I'm going to windshield wiper my knees side to side. My blocks are kind of in the way. I got little bumpers there, but I don't need to swing that far over. Just to get some heat into the hips. And then right foot steps down, left foot lifts, cross the left ankle over to the right knee. Let that left knee, I guess the word swinging open is probably a little too much detail that we're not doing, but it does kind of just motion outwards. And the back of the pelvis on this side feels like it's pulling a little bit more. So I'm going to try to redirect. So I'm anchoring on, I can feel instead of pushing my hip to tilt, I'm just moving my knee out, but I want to kind of stay with the parts that touch the bolster. This is why I like the sand. It kind of keeps me stable in the center. And emphasizing the very simple figure 4 version here. Okay, we're going to be coming up and doing a little bit of seated field work before we kind of take off into our inversions and side stuff, the yummy stuff. But we want to do some detail work into the hip, the layer of hip, knee, and ankle joints. We'll get this stuff out of the way in the beginning. Okay, so as I start to shift, I'm going to kind of soften through the lower back. So I was trying to kind of activate it a little bit with the arch right there. So I'm trying to just soften. So however the curve is in my back is fine. I'm not going to try to over activate it. Just whatever is what it is. Okay, now as you push firm into that right foot, again, you could do a little rocking motion. Okay, that might be kind of nice before we come up. But if you got sand on right now, on your rib space, just slide it off. Okay, and as we rock, we're going to uncross the ankle and then let the knees shift side to side. Now, as your knees shift, I want you to feel how that arch is right now before we come up, because we want to keep some of this when we sit upright, right? We want to go, oh, I still have that ability to lengthen in my back, not round. Okay, so just roll to the side carefully and come on up to sit on your bolster and have a block in front. In fact, you got blocks. I know we got blocks, but we're going to place a block forward. How far out is different for everybody. We're all different lengths, so you might decide, I'm going to have my block really close. I'm going to put mine kind of far away in the distance. I can still see it, but my foot has to be able to go on top of the block. Okay, so when my foot goes up, my left knee, I'm going to put a ball under it. I like a little bit of cushion, but we're not going to linger here very long. We're just going to kind of wake up a little bit into our arch, our back arch. So sandbag on left thigh. It's a great option. Hip hugger, kind of bring it on up. And then when you feel that arch of, I don't know if you feel the arch of your foot. I don't know if that's something you feel when you're sitting. Usually you feel it when you're stepping on them. But feeling the kind of radius of extremities without being stepped on or pushed into, like your hands. So focus on that spine lift. And then I want you to hinge at your hips. The sandbag will prevent you from rounding too much here, right? So I push it kind of high up, so I have to kind of push into sand. And then as your arms move back, just let your hands touch onto the bolster, okay? So as if I'm getting the shoulders to motion back. Now, some of us, everyone's taller than me, might find, well, wait a minute, I touch the bolster and I round. So option 2 would be to take your belt, if the belt's not stuck under your bolster, and hold it behind you so that you still can take that emphasis of openness through your chest. So leaning forwards. Yeah, I think this is a little better with the belt versus hands on the bolster. Okay, so when I'm leaning, I'm working on the motion of my chest muscles, my pecs right up here, or just think about that upper channel in the front of the body. That's it. Doesn't need to be up into the throat, but it could be. Okay, kind of steep and marinate here this right hip. Okay, now the belt could be touching down, the belt could be lifting up. You get to be the decider. Okay, now when we come up, kind of look up to the ceiling, look up so that you can feel that curve. Let go of the belt. And then if you have a ball under your left knee, I would just remove it if it's okay with your knee. Now, if your knee is like, I can't do that, you're going to take the twist without crossing the leg over to the left. Okay, so those of us keeping the ball, perfect. You hold the right knee and you take the twist this way. I actually like this because it kind of keeps that curve, right? It just stays with it. Now, of course, it does feel a little more, I don't know, it seems like it's advanced to put your foot on the other side of the left leg and then hook the left arm to the right leg and turn. Okay, but I feel like I lost some of my, like a little bit of that vertebral lift off. So when you're twisting, if you take the full twist with the foot on the other side of the knee, breathe and notice where you can feel the breath in the belly, in the ribs, maybe even close your eyes and just feel. Right, we improve circulation by feeling, right, the sensation in our poses. So if I'm feeling like my left shoulder is kind of jammed up when I do this, right, I might hold the right knee and really work on presenting the chest lift, because as we age, we're not going to get anything out of performing the pose, but jamming things up in the joints. So even if my foot's on the block, I just feel a little more relief and expansiveness. Okay, so now come back forward, whatever you're doing with your foot, on the other side or on the block, and then take the right leg to stretch it out to the right side, sand on the left thigh. Let's be belt free with this. So I'm going to put a ball under my left knee. If you still have that there, keep it. And then a block besides the right leg. Place the block at the highest setting in the beginning, and then just slide it out there on that right side. So my right leg is it's about between 1 and 2 o'clock. Okay. So when I slide the block down towards the right ankle-ish, I'm going to turn my ribs to the left. Try to feel from my middle to create that circulation, that stimulation to strengthen my obliques. And then the left arm can be back, it can be behind my back, it could be stretching over the side of the face, but take this side angle so there's the opportunity to reach out of your seat and lengthen. Okay, so my right hand, I feel like I could lower my block now and maybe feel a little more compression into the organs right on the right side. But it's okay to stay high up. In fact, you might even have the block this high, slide it in and put your elbow on it, right? And then you're kind of hands-free with it. And you're not pushing into your wrist. And then let the left arm go behind your back. Stay in the side lean. If you come back up, see if you can shift back over to that right side. You can turn your head to the right to look down to the right leg or close your eyes. And feel breathing. Okay, now when you come up, let's take a kind of a complete rotation. So right hand to left knee, left hand back, maybe on a blanket, maybe you wrap it around your torso, and then kind of complete the rotation on this side. So I'm going to just take one more in-breath, twisting. And then that fresh oxygenated blood, right, rushes into that center, into the organs when I come out of the pose. Okay, let the belly relax. Maybe pat the belly. Okay, switch sides. So right foot draws in, left foot onto the block. Okay, and ball, I'm going to put my ball under my right knee because I like this. I think I'm going to maybe prefer the foot on the block because it gives you a little bit more height. It's almost as if the bolster does kind of, they do drop in, right, as they age. So a block doesn't really. So it's nice to have that extra kind of inner support with the leg. So hands are back, belt is being held or the bolster, you decide. And then if you can feel the shoulders back, feel how the neck responds. Like I know, I see in the recordings, my neck is a little tilted. So my work is trying to get my shoulders back towards my spine. Keep that inner lift. And then I'm going to lean forward and that's it. Right? I'm just hinging at the hips, creating that blend of concentrate into my hip concentrate. We're trying to create some good hip concentrate right now. Okay. So marinating the hip. So it's also a nice way to bring circulation to the inner leg, to the leg pit, where there's a lot of lymph nodes. One of those lymph places, one of the 6 is going to be the leg pit. So, and when I lean in, I'm definitely working with that circulation. Now, do I need to tap on it or anything extra? You could, but it's okay just to have focus there and lean forwards. Maybe less is more with all these interactions with things, but just leaning. Okay, now scanning sensation from the forward fold, just coming back up, ever so small of a movement back, and then take a twist to your left. So it's up to you. You're going to move your foot off the block and place it on the other side of the right knee, or you're going to keep here with the foot on the block and reach back with your left hand. Okay, so this would mean you have to put your hand somewhere, right, versus wrapping around. Some people like to wrap the hand around and hold the sandbag handle, okay? I do like these deeper rotations, but keep in mind this is creating more leverage on the vertebrae. So it's forcing, it's pressing. So it might be better jamming to sometimes just consider a little bit more kind of confident support for the vertebral column, right? And as I turn, there is a mindset of, oh, I think I could do the other pose. Should I just stay where you are, whether you took the other pose or you didn't, and see if you can find that inner chamber going up. If the inner chamber is rounding, then you're not doing the right variation. So if you're really having to hunker down and push, take the easier version so you can center and elevate, or pretend to, right? It's only temporary. Temporary spine happiness. Okay, now I can feel like my waist can always use a little bit more direction. So when you let go of your knee, you're going to turn back center. Left leg stretches out, okay? I'm going to reset on my bolster. So if your leg is, as it reaches to between 10 and 11 o'clock, you're going to take your block, place it. I kind of like the block high and my elbow on it. So this time, let's go in a little different reach to it. So we're going to start with the twist to the right this time. Left hand to right knee, kind of set up the situation so the core has that inner lift. Can only help. Okay, and then we start to bring the weight down to the left sitting bone, the left elbow to that block. There's my block. And then the right arm reaches. Okay, this is all going to feel really good when we get upside down next. So let all this kind of workout go internally, the twists, the turns, the inner reaches, so that when we flush out, we have something to flush. Okay, we all do, right? We all have stuff built up, but we're kind of purposely churning a little bit with these seated poses. The inner churn. Okay, now the right arm can relax behind you. You can tilt to that left side. Breathe. It only helps. I don't know about you, but I do like that feel of coming up and kind of sealing the sequence. So when you come up, you might come back to that turn to the right, left hand to the right knee, right hand could be to that sacrum area, the knuckles could be just touching into that area and turning. Relax your grip, come back to center. And then let's take the ball out, keep it nearby, or let it roll away, and your block over to the side yard. And now we are going to go upside down. So let's get our belt. I think you can do all your things when you're upside down. You can buckle your belts and all that. So no one needs to change that. But let's take our sand in our lap. And I think I'm going to need to do a little bit of movement forward here. Okay, so we got our sand. And when we move back, you're going to sit on the very center of your, well, actually not the very center. You're centered as far as the bolster goes, but you're sliding forward, so the tailbone is going to be at the edge of the bolster. So when you lower down, right, your knees draw in, and we're going to see what it feels like to add the sand. I got one blanket, quarter full. This is probably maybe too much for some of you. You might decide, I don't want that much blanket. So you can go down to a little lower, keep it the way it is. And then as you add your sand to your feet, then this takes a moment to kind of jostle the sandbag so it's actually supporting you. And then when you go upside down, right, the shift in the circulation in the muscles of the legs is nice. So that draining. And it speeds it up with the sand. Okay, so if you decide I don't want to use sand right now on this variation, you don't have to. But as you feel that inner lift, it's a different inner lift. Our core body that we've been trying to have inner lift is now receiving all that fresh oxygenated blood right in the belly. It's elevated, and the head is a little bit lower. So let your brain state relax back, elbows wide. And feeling the lower belly relax. The areas of maybe a little bit of hardening would be around the hip sockets, right? Because our thigh bones are resting into those areas, sealing it. So give some time for that sealant to settle in. So we are creating some support for the bones and reversing the flow back to the heart and the lungs. You know, as we feel just a few more rounds with the sand on our feet, and feeling if the legs are in that flex on the feet, the reach of the toes towards you, right? You really are flexing quite a bit. And instead of trying to, flex and point, I know you're not going to point your toes with your sand, you'll lose it, but kind of feel the difference between that full flex and something kind of in the middle. Right? And you want to find that you can kind of go as far back with the flex as possible. Okay, now careful on the knees, because that can also cause the knees to turn in and to overly stretch. So see if you can contract above the knee into the quadricep. That feels kind of funny when you're upside down. Just try to get a little bit of tone there. Good. And then as we bend through the legs, the feet kind of push away. They don't go towards your face right away. They push away. And then as you move your thighs to the corners of the ribs, you don't have to go that far down with the knees towards your chest, right? If your arms were out to the sides, then just lift up your arms, your hands to your sand. See if you can just move the sand. And now we're going to tilt the knees forward. We're going to let the left foot step down, and we're going to lower the sandbag on the top of that left thigh. So if that was coordinated for you to go that motion pattern, to go for that, or if you need to put your sand down and take some time. But when I stretch the left leg down, I like to have the sand. I generally think it's effective if it's straight down, but sometimes it falls off. So, to position it however it feels supported. It doesn't need to look right. It needs to feel right. So you can't really see it anyway, can you, when it's down there on your thigh. So bend through the right knee, get a belt, and feeling when the right knee is bending. Now, if I put my right foot down, it kind of feels a little weird in my hips. So it is important to keep the foot off the floor on the right side and have that opposition of the pelvic and the leg threads. I like to think of it, the thread of the legs. I know they're more than threads, but okay, take a belt so that you're going to buckle up and make a big loop. I'd say the loop should be really big, okay, because you want it to go from your foot and to your back of your head, not your neck, or you could put the belt with your hands reaching. Could be either. So I place the belt under my right foot, and when I reach it behind my head, a guesstimate would be to have my foot, as I think, straight up and down, and then I make a big enough loop that I could reach it to the crown of my head. Okay, that's pretty good. So that is about how long you want it, how big a loop you want. And as you scoop up your head, or my focus is not to do it like a crunching, like abdominal. That's no good. We don't do those, but you want to feel traction. Okay, so maybe you loosen it up. Maybe you tighten it up. It's up to your calf and hamstring. And I feel it today. I feel the leg circulation. So let it reverse the flow back to the top of the thigh, to the hip socket. It's okay if you turn the foot a little bit out and turn a little in, just to kind of play with your feel of your hip, but it's not the best thing to twist the neck at all. So I've got my belt to the center of the back of my skull about. I have mine a little higher than that, a little bit above my occiput, the shelf, the back of the skull, above the brainstem. And then when my arms open out, I can just flow the sensations, not just of the breath, but of the body. I mean, you do the practice, at least we show up here to do some motions, in the body. Feeling how your foot pushes into the belt, the left leg reaches down. Now slowing down the breath, the brain, and now switching sides. We'll do about 2 minutes on each side. So when we switch, you could put the sand on the floor if you like to have a little bit more just kind of ease in the core without the sand on the belly. You could try that sometimes. I just vary it up how you alternate. And it might be interesting for you to hold the back of your head so you feel a little more secure. Hold the belt at least. And then as I switch sides, the right leg lowers down, left foot is up. And as I reach down through that right leg, but I want to feel the weight of my head leaning back into the belt. It's likely some difference from side to side, and you might need the belt to be a little bit looser, a little bit longer, larger of a loop on the second side. So before you get to sand happy on the right quad, you can kind of just do a little bit of assessment. But I kind of like the assessment after I get the sand on because I know how much the sand supports my mobility on this one, its stability and its flexibility together with the sand. The sand is kind of stabilizing, but also creating some stretch and softening in the psoas, right? So you could have the sand higher on the right thigh. It doesn't have to be down on the quadricep. It could be a little bit higher up. You can kind of play with that. And if you have 2 sandbags, it's actually maybe extra good. I'm not sure. I generally use 1. But as I keep that reach with the left leg, I might take a little bit of motion and just kind of feel. So, this is a better, well, it seems to be a more comfy knee. I wouldn't say, we don't want to tell one knee it's bad or not, but this knee feels a little bit more at ease with the length. It doesn't feel as susceptible to potential discomfort, you could say. So when I reach, I want to feel both the input of pushing into the belt with my foot and then having my head lean back. So instead of us kind of skimming the surface of some of our poses today, we're going for these parts a little bit longer, so we can maybe feel what the benefit is of more time in the pose. It does require more patience. Okay. So the mental part is the challenge, not the physical part sometimes. You have to kind of marry those two. So as the reach is with that left leg, let your head lean back. If you need more slack on the belt, you give it, right? If you feel like this is just can't be here anymore, then you can slide the belt, loosen it up, the buckle, or you can also even take the belt off the back of your head and hold the belt. You can walk your hands up and hold. You can reach it back behind you, bring your palms together inside the belt. That can feel really good too. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, but I'll keep with what I was doing, so I don't make too much change from one side to the next. But what I offer on this one is if you do find this to be a helpful one, and you like to add inversions, stability, flexibility together, is you could do this maybe 2 rounds total, right? You could do another round. We won't do 2 today, but in one of them, you would be holding the belt, reaching it back overhead, right? With the palm together, reaching back. So the second round would be that. And then you create a little bit more range into the leading up into the spine. That connector from leg to the sides of the spine and the muscles and basically the back muscles. Okay, so now let's shift our sand. If we got it on the right thigh, if you don't have the sand, it's okay. You don't have to, but let the sand roll. My sand's actually rolling. And then I'm going to bring my hands inside the belt and slide it off the back of my head and then bring my right foot up and push your feet out so you're in a wide stance. Okay, now you might have to tighten it up. So when you have that reach with the feet, okay, you're in a leg float. If you can't see, it's leg float. You don't have to twist your legs around like that, but it's the feet are wide, and this is probably too wide. I'm just gonna make it a little smaller loop. So I feel the balance between legs up, reverse action, Viparita, Karani, and the leg float. So it's gonna be a little tingly in your feet, I bet. Now that we've been kind of upside down for a bit, the blood pressure in the feet is probably getting close to 0, right? And you're moving all that blood back towards the heart. So it's a great flexibility for the arteries. It's a very interesting studies done on that with inversion. So help yourself to some good heart support here. Okay. Feeling if the knees turn in, just notice, maybe closing your eyes and feel, do my knees turn out? Do my knees stay neutral? That's what we want. Neutral knees. Newt knees. All right, now as you bend and you bring your arms to reach up, even blindly, you could just reach up to your belt, slide your feet together, and lower the left leg down. Hold the belt together with your left hand and cross the right leg over to the left. And you're going to give yourself freedom to roll on your hip. Okay, roll on the left hip. And the right hip goes up and over, right? This right hip is not centered down the bolster. It's up and over. Breathing. Okay, now bend the right knee and then left foot up into the belt. Just keep it simple, swap it. And then the right leg at the base, you can just let it have its own little kind of fun direction of motion, just feeling where it slips around, where it bends. Some of us might have issues right in the knee, and this might be like, pause, I don't want to do much. You might have to straighten it out if your knee is vulnerable. So it's going to be to each person's individual exploration. Okay, left leg over to the right. So as I pull with my right hand on the belt, I'm trying to pull to feel that resistance in the upper outer thigh into the hip. Bend the left knee. Okay, now just slide the belt off your foot, and as the knees position back up to each other, let's grab a ball and place it center of the knees. And without the energy of trying to squeeze it too much, you're already going to be referencing some circulation by having it center of the knees and not losing it. So keep it simple. Arms are open and knees just go side to side. I mean, if you tend to squeeze the ball a bit, that's fine, but not overly exerting anything in your hip or your back. Just feel what's natural. Right? And maybe natural for you is knees go to the side and you squeeze into the ball. Maybe you squeeze in the center. Okay, we don't know how you're motioning with it. It's really up to you. But I like to kind of rest into my feeling source of my hip and just feel how the movement of my hips, side to side, lifting it up, starts to give some circulation into the muscles along my spine. Definitely enjoy that. Let's take a few more moments. It's random how many crossovers you do here. It's totally random. So if you go slower, you're not going to go as many, of course. So if you speed it up, that's up to you. Okay, but the final part of this, maybe feel where your arms are open. There's a generous reach with the arms. When the knees go to the side, feel how much movement in the hip is actually kind of feels comfortable. Maybe you don't even know you're limitless, but feeling that crossover. And last one. And then as you come back in, squeeze the ball. Okay, just squeeze it with the knees, squeezing in. Okay, coming up with the feet a little bit so you're at more of that tabletop. So feet lift up, straight down from the knees, straight across from the knees. And this is where you want to squeeze the ball. Okay, relax the belly if it's possible. It's interesting how you do use your core, right, in these types of exercises. But as I'm squeezing in, knee squeeze, I'm continuing to effort, and then keep squeezing, and then remove the ball. You're gonna have to relax the squeeze to get that out of there. And then just feeling the legs shake out. Do a little dead bug pose or tantrum. Okay. Now, as I soften through the knees, I'm going to alternate one knee into the chest area, just towards it at a time. Just give a little bit of movement through the hip flexors. Okay. And then just a little bit of knees in, just a little bit. And then roll to the left. And then push your legs downwards so you can slide down. And then come on into side sage. We'll just keep it going. We're on a track here. Keep on track. So I got my bolster, same. Got my blankets now, stack them up. And then as we flow into the side sage, you can have a chair here, a block set. You can have 2 blocks. I sometimes think like I can use just one at the highest setting, but I'm going to use 2 today and just see. I'm going to set one up at the highest setting, one low, so it can stabilize the block. A chair, though, is really nice for the shoulder. So if you have a stool or a chair, that can be nice to put your hand on. Now, when you lean in, since we've been seated, we've had other directions this whole time. We haven't quite had this direction yet. Okay, we did a little side reach, but not to the point of the whole body taking off into it. So that's a good point on side sage, is you are kind of trusting all these props. Okay, it's like, you better hold me. So let's see what happens. So my left hip is next to the bolster. I'm going to put a ball under my right knee. And I'm going to add a sandbag to the outer right hip. Okay, so my body is leaning into the bolster and the blankets under my head. So the area in between the shoulder is kind of in this motion of resting and reaching, but I don't feel like it's a shoulder stretch on this left arm. But if you feel like it's a shoulder stretch, be sure that your bolster is kind of up to your armpit, okay? And then that might make it a little more comfortable. So, you know, that's a whole area that would be kind of fun to journey on, is the shoulders, the armpits. Kind of fun to make half a sequence about all that, huh? So the ball under the right knee. The right arm is either overhead or it's on the side, on your right side or next to your bolster touching down, or maybe you're rolling on your head and opening. And breathing. So feel that reach through the right arm. Let the weight lean into your head, into the blankets. So there's lower channel weight, there's mid, there's upper channel weight into your head. Breathing slow. Exhale completely. And if there's any extra little areas that is gripping, for me, I feel a little bit at kind of the brain stem. So you might let your head really relax into the blankets. That could be one offering. Another would be maybe the arm goes down and you roll in the back of your head a little bit more. But you might not have anything going on there. Okay, now slide the sand off. Turn to table. Okay, so we're going to turn kind of table-ish, not necessarily a perfect table, but we're going to pivot. So what I want you to do is take your bolster, place it on top of your blankets. Okay, so you got a lot of height. It's like, you know, when you do like yoga stretches where if you are able to get on the floor, you do like a tabletop, you put your hands on the tabletop and stretch your back. You know, that's, well, as far as I can tell, we're able to get on the floor and we're able to get up. Okay, so we're going to try for that. So just let your hands reach onto the bolster setup with the blankets, the bolster blanket lift off. And then if my shoulders are a little upset when I move my hands far out, I might bring them a little closer in. So feel when the hands are closer. Feel when the hands are farther out. Feel where the stretch is into your back. And then bring your hands onto the floor, under your shoulders, and your knees might have to shift back. I want you to let your hips move a little side to side. And then as you arch the spine, you could do this on your elbows if it hurts your wrist, or you can put your bolster down under your elbows, so that's closer for you. And then you round the back into cat, chin to chest. Inhale, arch the spine. So the hips move back. It's not just a spine thing, they're kind of connected. And then as your spine kind of grows out of your pelvis, you're trying to just nourish that, create some nice circulation there. That's kind of the key focus here, just circulation in the connection of spine to pelvis, right? Chin to chest, round the back. Arching the spine. Now come to table and hands a little wider than shoulder width, toes under, lift up the knees. If this is available for you to come into a down dog with the heels at the wall would be kind of nice, but just lifting upside down right now is fine. Head down, below heart. Doesn't have to be more than that. Okay. Now come back on down and then get a hold of your bolster and let's take that across the mat. Set up for side stage on the right hip, lean into the right side. Okay, so now when I'm here, I kind of like that feel of the left leg stretching back, the ball under the inner left knee. And then as I lean in, I've got my sand on the outer left hip, and I'm reaching my left arm overhead to touch two. And you know, I think this block thing is sometimes overrated, getting your arm on something overhead. You know, so, you know, if your neck, I mean, it's all connected. So if you feel like there's just a little area of tension, you might need to go minus the arm reaching. Some of us like that feel of the big reach. You know, it has sensation. That's kind of cool, but it's okay if your arm is kind of flowing a little bit out and back, around, so making circles. kind of massaging into the joint. You can hold the shoulder with your left hand, or let the left arm relax down your side. So just with the breath, feeling the waist, releasing. I think the the right side is a big deal on this, the compression into the organs. But you don't have to do anything on that right side, you just let it rest into the bolster. Yeah, sometimes this is why the round bolster can be really nice on the side work. It gives you just a little bit more of that visceral manipulation, a little bit more visceral pressure in the organs. But you can make it stimulated by just breathing in the core, right? Breathing in the belly and relaxing. Okay, so if your arm is reaching overhead, take another slow breath. Don't have to move it yet. Relax the arm down. Feel that side reaching. And then, since we have the side reach, let's move a little bit into the front, into the hip flexor. This is kind of just starting to peel that, that circulation open, kind of get some movement there. So we just move our sand and the sand and motion. Roll to the right, push into your ribs a little bit and come on up. I know pushing into your hands is always part of it. Push into your ribs. And then come on up and let's take our bolster to the side for a moment. We are going to do a little bit of option with a hip opener, but I want you to have your bolster on the side. Okay. Get a blanket if you need under your knees. Okay. If you want that, use it. Otherwise, have a couple blocks. And let's go hip flexor. Let's see, we had right hip down. Okay, since I mentioned we were going to go into that. Okay, let's go right foot first. Okay, so we're going to step forward. Again, you might need a blanket under your knee. Your left foot is at the wall. This is a good time to be at the wall. And you're going to lean forward into the lunge and feel the arch. I mean, there's a lot of arches on this pose. There's a foot, there's a hip, there's a spine, there's a neck. Okay, push into your wall with your left foot and come on up so that you're in it's a low lunge, but your knee's not down, right? So it's kind of a mid-height lunge. So I'm going to scoot back so I'm a little closer to the wall. I mean, a little bit back with my hands. Okay. Now, use the wall. My foot is up the wall a little bit. Now, I'm going to lower down so my heel is just up at the wall. Yep, but if you like your foot up at the wall and you like a foot stretch, go for it. Okay, but it's still a foot stretch with my heel up. Now, I'm going to use that to help me balance. So I'm touching into the wall. And when I come up, I got my hands to my right knee. I mean, think about this as still restoring. I know it's not the most easy thing to do, but we're working with into the hips, circulation, stimulating, right, balance. So it's a challenge. The struggle is real. Okay, now lifting up through the heart, feel the arch through the spine. Breathe deeply. Okay, now you're going to lean forward. You're going to lower down. And then as you're reaching, I want you to get a feel here that your hands are on blocks. So if you don't have your blocks, you're trying to go free of them, have some high blocks here. Okay, so my left hand's on a block. I'm going to move my block a little out to the left so it's a little bit out from in line with my left foot. So my left foot's going to be stabilizing. My block is it's not right next to my right foot. I've got to have it a little bit out. Okay, you got to have a little bit out so you don't fall over. Okay. Falling over is a thing on this one. That doesn't sound like a good time. So just bear with it. Move your block on the left hand a little forward and right hand to the sacrum. And then turn the ribs to the right. Okay, my knee is bending. I'm going to let it stay bent. Yeah, I do like that idea of trying to lengthen the leg a little bit, so I might push into my foot, give a little bit of extra stretch into my side of my right thigh, but feel the turn, breathe. Okay, now turn back towards navel towards the floor, hands on blocks. Now, as the left heel lowers down, I'm going to try to stretch my left heel to the floor now. Good luck. It's been a while since you did this kind of angle for your calf. You can always have your heel up at the wall. No problem. Okay, try to extend the core body for a few moments. There's only two sides, so this is good news. You can always take a break if you need to. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of implement the energy up the thigh, so it's like you're kind of like you're squeezing the quad. You're kind of sucking up the quad, but then you're gonna bend the knee and flush it out and come back to your left foot goes to the right foot. So you're in a standing forward fold-ish. Now, you could leap over your blankets with your blocks, not you, but block leaping. And so then you still have that curve in the back. So many of us might want to just lower our body, our upper body to our lower in a forward fold like that, right? But I'm going to recommend that you give this one a try so that you can create some stability into your sacroiliac area and the lower back muscles, kind of empower that core body. You might even lift a hand up at a time, maybe not both at the same time, but just trying to create that strength. Okay, now bend the knees. Okay, take the blocks back beside your feet and then step the right foot back. Think about this portion as being more stability and strength. So, of course, it's only temporary. It's only two sides. So this time we'll go backwards, right? We'll start with a lift. So my back heel, I'm going to try to, it seems reasonable we'd have the heel up first on this side. So we're not going to start with the heel down in the beginning because it's not ready. So my heel is up. Okay, I'm going to push into my left foot and then I'm going to try to come up to balance. So my left foot's going to be a little shaky, the left knee just forward over the ankle. Yeah, might feel a little reserved into your hip flexor on that back thigh. So try to reach through your abdominals like you're trying to kind of sit upright, but you're standing. Or are you? Okay, you're approaching a step, right? Okay. Even if you've taken many steps in your body. Okay, lean forward. Right hand on the block. Right heel lowers down. Okay, I'm going to lower it a little bit. Actually, I'm going to keep it at the wall because it's a little tough to do that. Right hand on block. My block is not in line with my back foot. It's a little out to the right side and up. Then we're going to turn to the left and rotate. Try to push into that left foot and lengthen a little bit through the thigh. If you're, kind of rocking on the block, it's a lot. Bring the left hand to the sacrum. You can always move your block, but be careful. So I would bend the knee, the left knee, and kind of scoot the block in so you feel like it's under your shoulder. All right. Breathing. Left arm can be up. Doesn't mean you get extra credit, but you find what gives you circulation in the hip. Breathing slow. And now left hand comes down. Start to reach the right heel all the way to the floor. Okay, maybe. Straighten out through the legs. Okay, now this is a good opportunity to go in towards either a pigeon pose, or I'm going to give a completely different opportunity if you don't do pigeon. Okay, so you'll have a great selection ahead of you, but they look really different in some way. They do. Once the setup is a little different for each. So if I'm reaching through that left leg right now, I'm going to lower down the back knee. If you need a blanket, it's under the knee. And you're going to take a few moments here in the lunge. Don't get too excited about going into pigeon quite yet, but lean forward so you have your lunge. Okay, now Slide a bolster under the thigh. Now, if you're not going to do regular pigeon, don't bother with the bolster quite yet. So regular pigeon would be bolster under my right thigh. I'm going to take my blocks out and I'm going to walk my left foot over to the right, and then I come into pigeon this way. Okay, so those of you that are here and are not going to go into that version, don't worry. Step the left foot back. Okay, take your bolster up on your blankets like that, and then lean your left hip next to the bolster. I like this one. And then hands beside the bolster on the floor, and then stretch the waist. You still get to kind of nestle into your hip, and then let your head turn to the right. Sleeping sage, arms open, chest relaxes. So a little weight into the left hip. Okay, so you choose. So sleeping sage or sleeping pigeon, because that's what it is, a sleeping pigeon, when you're going forward and down. So you might find, and a sleeping sage is sort of like getting into pigeon, but it's not the knee pointing out thing, right? I mean, just kind of feel for yourself. Where would you rather be, right? Sleeping pigeon or sleeping sage? All up to you. I guess you could do each of them. But those of us in pigeon lean forward. Those of us in sleeping sage are adding a twist to it, right? We just rest into our hip. We're rotating in the ribs. We're on the bolster. Relaxing the heart. Okay, so you choose either one. If you're still not sure and you're gonna go out of the pigeon, just move your bolster up, like so. Similar, it's got a hip next to it, and then a belly resting onto the bolster. Okay, now switching sides. So that's all we do. So if we're in sleeping pigeon, I would say turn onto your back first. Get your spine, that arch after the twist, and then turn to the other side. Okay, to that right hip, and then down. Okay, now if you're in the sleeping pigeon, you do kind of a similar motion, right? It's not that different. You're leaning, and then you're lifting, you're kind of arching, and then you're switching sides. It is kind of break dancey look, isn't it? So you're tilting from left hip, and then you're swinging forward and going to the other side. It's an awkward break dance. Okay, so the right knee is between, and you are in the gap between the bolster and the blankets. If you've done sleeping sage, though, it'll be hard to go to this one. You're gonna feel like, oh, I just want to go back to that sleeping sage. And they both can be quite nourishing, right, for your connection from your hip into your pelvis. So they're both gonna support that quality. So even if you're not in pigeon, you're still doing some good work into your hip, because I don't want you to feel like you're doing work on your knee or hurting your knee. This shouldn't feel like a knee pose. So if this is a knee pose for you, like you're having difficulty, then just get into sleeping sage and it won't feel like a knee pose. It's supposed to be a hip opener. So feeling where there's quality of touch into that right hip. Let your head lean down and breathe. Okay, now when we come out, we're going to actually lower onto our back. So let's try this. Let's lean forward. If you're on the bolster with your hip on the bolster, like sitting on it, just lean into the right hip and then swing the leg around. Now, if you're already kind of leaning in the bolster, it's easy. You just come up and then you just turn towards the wall and you push your bolster right against it. So easy. Easy peasy. Okay. So this is kind of tracking pretty well today. I'm pleased. Sequencing is okay. All right, so we got a ball and we've been on our hip a little bit. Okay, so I want you to place your feet on the bolster and your lie back, feet on bolster. If you got a blanket, this is just not okay. So I want to go down to, I'm going to go to one blanket folded in the smallest, it's really tiny. So if you have a beach towel, that's different. You can just have a small little bit of height under your head, just tiny, just for padding, not anything for like adding flexibility or round. We don't want to round our neck anyway. Get a ball. Okay, place it under the left rear and you're going to push into the ball and you're going to roll across. Now you're the roller, not the ball. The ball is round, so it's nice, but you're the one that's pushing onto it. So you might just lean your weight and glide across the muscle. And then when you're tugging on the tissue, feel the pressure across the glute. Okay? Now, of course, head relaxes back. Arms can be open or they can be releasing down by your side. Sometimes this helps you with balance to have arms by your hips. But what I like to encourage you to do is work a little bit on that center kind of thread of balance, like your little bit of the core muscles. So push into the ball, glide across, okay? And now I'm on one glute area, one glute trio of glutes. Now bring the ball to your sacrum, so base of the spine or a little below, maybe just tailbone, and feel the body relax into the ball. Like feel the arch of the lower back, feel the body touch into the ball, feeling that circulation. Pretty comfortable on this one. And then move the hips side to side, getting some heat into that lower span of the spine, into the hips. So cross the tailbone. Okay, cross the tailbone is the ball. Now, next few moments, you're gonna push your hips to the left, grab a hold of the ball and move it over to the right rear, and then rolling. So I've got weight into the ball, and sometimes the ball goes too high up, and sometimes you just scoot it to your right to the glute media, so you want to really connect to the border of the hip. So feeling that crossing and that pressure, and the key would be weight and movement. And let it be somewhat meaningful to massage into these tissues, weight and movement. Glide across. Okay, now when you're feeling that pressure, I want you to notice where the hip is feeling that circulation, right? Feeling that circulation into the hip. Breathe. Okay, and it's kind of a dull pressure with the ball. It's drawing fluid into the tissue. So when you lower onto your left side, take the ball away. I mean, don't throw it. Okay, and then take a moment here. When you bring the knees into your chest, I want you to place the ball, if you can, actually feet on bolster, lift up, ball to the tailbone, bring the knees to the chest. Okay, that's how we go. Kind of hard to put the ball under when your knees are up. So a little balance challenge here. So feel the knees drawing in. Now with the ball, it's kind of helping me have a little deeper stretch into my back, right? If I don't have the ball, well, my back will be on the floor. That's the deal. And I won't really have that curve. So feel that if you can kind of feel where the curve is. Okay, and then as you lower your feet down, okay, do a little bit of tapping with your feet on the bolster, a little bit of lift and lower. See if you can even move your hip at all. If it's kind of stuck, if you can wag your tail. Okay, now, then, right foot on the floor. Take your bolster with your left foot and kick it over to the right side. And then as I put the bolster on the right side of my mat, I'm purposely on the ball so I can roll into this crossover. Okay, so it is a little awkward. It feels like something's stuck under you because it kind of is. So if you don't like to use the ball for it, you can just pass on that option. But the ball is pretty high up here to help me get the lift of my hip over to the bolster. It actually makes it seem a little easier than it ought to be. I'm okay with that. I'm getting the range of motion. I almost feel like I can meditate in it, right? Sand on the outer left hip and left arm is open. So if you're one who likes to get into the shapes to feel the intensity, the discomfort, maybe you can find ways to get in some shapes where you just can exist in a little bit of contentment too. Okay, for the muscles to feel the direction and to feel that they arrive at a better point of circulation for the moment. And then just feeling, if you need more blanket height, this might be the moment where this is too low. So it's really up to you. If you turn your head a little to the left and you decide I'm going to try the blanket higher and see how it feels, that might be helpful. But left leg crosses to the right, sand on the outer left hip, breathing. You know, taking that necessary kind of exit breath on this side, feeling the abdominals just fill up a little bit with oxygen, fluid, movement. And then relaxing down. If you've got your head turned, turn it back center or bring it back to center. Don't turn it, bring it to center. Get the ball and sand goes away if you're using that. And then as you step into your feet, shift the hips a little to the right and then take your bolster and move it to the left side. So I'm just going to get a hold of it, move it on over. And then as I take that crossover, last time I did kind of like that. I did like that ball to the sacrum and then kind of roll into it. So you can do that or not. You know, you choose. I think it's fun to find ways of using, especially the squishy prop, to get that squeeze and circulation in the abdominals. Okay, so sand maybe. If you feel like you want less pressure and just feeling the circulation of the position without sand, that's fine. I recommend you put on that outer right hip as the right arm opens. And then as you roll your head to the right, keep the chest expanding. Breathing. You're feeling rotation in even beyond just spinally. Notice other areas where there's an ability to expand and kind of reset. It could be the chest. It could be deeper than these feelings of parts, right? So as you keep that open awareness, breathing slow. Now possibly scanning where the legs are reaching, because we're going to put them upside down next in our final pose. Kind of feel how they reach out of the back of the pelvis. I mean, we really are a creature that can use our extremities to help our middle, right? The movement of them, when we're moving, when we're stretching, when we're twisting, when we're going upside down. Extremities are pretty cool to have to create that. So when you feel that twist, feel some openness at the heart, breathing slow. Okay, now move the ball. Number one. Number two, the sand. Okay. And then as you motion to that side, you're going to roll. You're going to bring your knees up a little bit to come up carefully using your hands, and then take a bolster to the wall. Okay, so your bolster's at the base. You'll have a blanket. I would say probably a little higher fold would be okay. I mean, my teacher would probably say no blanket. Reasons for the neck. So it's up to you. If you're used to this, but you can maybe go down a little bit in height, go with it. If you have an eye pillow, it's kind of a treat. So sit on a treat not to be looking. So sit on the edge of your bolster on the side and then roll to bring the legs upside down. Okay. So when they go up, if you don't find this to be comfortable to get your legs all the way up a wall, you can always put your legs up on a chair, a bed, ottoman. There's a lot of options to get your legs lifted, and they can bend that way, right? Some of us, the legs up is a lot for circulation to the heart. It's just a challenge flexibility wise. So if it's a lot of flexibility challenge, you can also be further away from the wall, and you can still be on your bolster or just a blanket or nothing. And then start to add that sand to the feet. So as my sand is applying pressure, I want to feel the pressure evenly. And it's like you got a uni leg on this one, right? So you got 2 feet, yes. You got 2 legs, yes. And once they're up, where the energy goes is unified in the back of the pelvis, right? And then with the bolster, it kind of lets this lower area open up, right? It's an interesting way to support our core muscles. In fact, in Iyengar yoga, your primary beginning core strengtheners before boat pose is legs up, okay? So you can do this one, practice this one probably relatively frequently, just to lie back and get your legs up. And that would be more ideal when you're in the middle of the room, right, to do the core strengthening, but still we have to do some of it here. So if you have an eye pillow, you just place that over the eyes, or you can just simply let the eyelids rest down so you have that curtain of darkness. So softening the face, the skin, kind of feeling where that touches. If there's something on your face, it can be nice to have something just lightly touching and relaxing that skin. And the arms can be open and the shoulders relaxing back. So feeling the energy of the front body, feeling its movement. And feeling the belly in motion. And if the motion is just squeezing, maybe just feeling it expand. And then you have to exhale at some point, right? So you're feeling if the exhale is bodily exhale or if it's facially exhale. That's maybe why breathing through your nose can be helpful, right? So it's not such a pumping action through one area. It's a whole body kind of fusion. That could be something you just play with. It doesn't need to be all or nothing, but just explore letting your body surrender and receive the practice. You can let your head nod if you don't have an eye pillow. Feeling that stretch into the neck. Take a slow breath in. And empty out. Now with that lift of the legs, we're going to shift the feet away from the wall. You're going to bend through the knees, and you might have to take your eye pillow off at some point, but you can leave it as long as you like. Okay, feel the knees bend. And then as you slide the sand off, just get a feel of the back area kind of just releasing, feeling where the circulation pours into, maybe nowhere, maybe it's all the same as you had a few moments ago, but there's a squeeze into the organs with the knees to the chest. Okay, you can do that without holding on to them, right? You can just feel what your flexibility is in your back here with the knees in. Sometimes you have to clutch onto the legs to feel that extra connection. And then as you take a moment, roll to the side and all the way. And then push and then let yourself come up to sitting. So find the weight into your sitting bones. On a bolster with a wall behind you, if by chance, feel the arch through the spine. You feel what it's like to feel your head kind of flow up. Bring your hands together. Bring a little bit of rubbing into the palms, some heat. Feel the fingers stretch out, and let's feel that pressure of the heels of the hands towards the heart, palm to palm. Uniting our breath. Deep inhale. And then with that slow exhale, bowing into the peace inside your heart and gratitude